I'm here with John Kennedy, not JFK, from McGill Sunrise Rotary Sunrise here in Adelaide. And we've been having some interesting discussions about life and giving, and John has had some very interesting experiences in his own life. I thought, John, we might just start with some of the near-death experiences that you've had, because this is quite extraordinary and interesting.
1973, I died 3 times in a car accident.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and what was the experience? What happened?
In a nutshell, I slowed down for a corner on a dirt road and the car slid sideways into a tree. My head got squashed between the tree, the roof and the steering wheel.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm unconscious. They pronounced me dead in the ambulance on the way into the hospital. I don't have recollection of that, but they did give me emergency surgery when I arrived into the Royal Adelaide, and I do have a number of out-of-body experiences from that as well. But in essence, what they did was they cut off the top of my head, and I've got 7 metal clips that were inserted inside my brain.
Can you tell me a little bit about what it was like to go out of your body? What did you experience?
There's the visions that I have, 3 of them are very, very clear. One of them was me slouched over the steering wheel of the car just after the hit occurred. One of them was, and 2 of them were actually when I was actually lying on the operating table, and I was actually on the ceiling watching the doctors perform the operation on my skull.
How did you feel when you were looking down at yourself? What was that experience like?
Feeling, emotion, it's a bit difficult to put a finger on that one, but I think it was more awe than anything else. It wasn't fear, it was just experiencing an experience that I'd never experienced before.
Were you aware of anything? Like, was there anything in addition to what you would normally be aware of that you experienced whilst you were floating up there on the ceiling?
You reckon that's a normal experience, do you?
Not at all. Not at all.
Not that I can remember.
Yeah.
But what I did do about 6 months prior to me having that accident, I obtained. I'd been studying transcendental meditation, and I obtained my mantra. But so what I did directly after when I woke up after 6 weeks unconsciousness, which was just like being reborn again. So the rebirthing experiences and the reborning experiences are definitely something that's well worth considering as well. I actually started to meditate as much as I could to get into my subconscious to try and understand what I'd just been through. There was a lot of black. Many times it was just nothing but black and more black. But on the odd occasion, I actually experienced at that point in time, I realised that when I was unconscious, I'd actually gone through a tunnel. I actually saw white. I actually saw whitish beings, whatever you want to call them, actually in the tunnel. What they said, what they directed me to do, I don't know, but that's what happened to me.
How did you feel when you saw the beings around you?
Well,
was there a feeling?
I just accepted it. This feeling, there's no feeling. I don't remember any feeling. You're talking about emotions. I don't recall any emotions. It just happened.
And how did it change your life from the person you were before to the person you've become today?
The actual event itself, the experience of the event, the unconsciousness especially, I don't know whether I could actually say that it actually changed it in itself, actually changed my life. But the results that occurred out of that majorly influenced my life. Do you follow what I'm saying?
In what way?
I've I fought to be normal. I had to be reborn. I had to teach myself to talk, because my jaw was smashed to pieces. I had to teach myself to talk again. I had to teach myself to walk again, and I still can't run. I had to teach myself to write, to use because the whole of my right hand side of my body was paralysed, and I'm still doing it. I still have exercises I have to do on a daily basis, and it's just something I'll do for the rest of my life.
Now, when you and I talked just after my talk at the Rotary meeting, you were saying that you sort of called that forth. Can you talk a little bit about that? Like in the sense that you asked for something to remove your karma, remember? Yeah. And you said you got to be careful what you ask for.
This is my word of warning. As a local councillor in the local area, I commonly say to people, be careful what you think. The way you are today is what you thought yesterday. The way you think today is what you will be like tomorrow. The mind is very, very powerful tool. Very powerful. I've read so many. One thing that's happened out of this experience with me is a desire, an inward desire to discover more about the workings of the self. Now, I have confidence and security within myself. I don't need to search for anything that may be spiritual outside of myself. I'm confident within myself that I can live a normal, productive life. Even though I've had to fight, I still got residual paralysis, I've still got medical problems, and I still get discriminated against left, right and centre because of my disability, as much as things have changed. But it's just something you accept. Never expect anything, because the expectations have a strange way of realising themselves, but realising themselves in different ways. And some of those different ways are not exactly the best ways to want something to happen. And
you also made the suggestion of not influencing people too. And that's sort of like a letting go, isn't it?
You've got to be very, very careful when you're dealing with this concept of karma. Karma to cause events to happen, and when you're dealing with other people's karma, it's very sensitive. I think that's the best way of putting it. It's not necessarily negative or positive, but it's very difficult and it's very sensitive, and you've got to be very, very careful what you try and get, or what you think you want other people to do.
You indicated just a few moments ago too, before our interview, that you're now in service to people, like you see yourself as serving people rather than taking from people. You're busy all the time. Can you talk a little bit about that?
You'll find a lot of people that have been through traumatic experiences. They don't necessarily have to be near-death experiences. People in wheelchairs, for example, that have had major accidents, are very, the Chinese call it, the Chinese say you've got an aggressive liver. I've actually got liver problems because of my medication, but that's a different issue. An aggressive liver actually encourages you to be active all the time. Now, not only did I came back from a near-death experience, totally paralysed. I had 2 years convalescing. And a year of that convalescing, believe it or not, was actually milking cows in Tasmania on a dairy, on a big dairy. We had about 360, 370 head of cows. It was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. An experience that, it just doesn't normally happen to anybody living in a city. But from that, I've come back to South Australia. I've got a job with the courts, which again is a very responsible position. I've fought the bureaucracy, because the bureaucracy didn't recognise the potential, my potential. It basically looked at my number of times I went for job interviews, and I've got good writing skills, good communication skills, and as soon as the application would go through, you could see that the people, the interviewees, were really looking for the potential of this guy. But as soon as I walked in with my limp and my bad leg and my right hand side, bingo, that's it. I was just
so discrimination.
It was discrimination, and it still happens today. It's a lot better today, but it does. So I fought discrimination. I fought the system. I've never really got more than a base grade salary, etc. I'm now retired, and I've never been so busy in my life. I've been 23 years ago. I made a decision to stand as a councillor on the city of Campbelltown, basically because I was trying to fix up a couple of traffic problems in the local area, which I did do. But once I got involved with local government, I realised that I could actually influence. Well, Campbelltown, South Australia, we've got 50,000 people. When anybody asks me my reasons for being on local government, one, it's because I love the people that I represent, and that love is a key word. And it's not airy-fairy, it's a rigid love from the heart. And secondly, if anybody asks me about my family, I say my family is 50,000 people.
Wow, that is really...
and it's quite incredible. When you've gone from a near-death experience to a situation where you've held down a full-time job, married, 2 kids, I've now got 5 grandkids, I've divorced, I've got another girlfriend. I've been through everything and every experience. You cannot give up. You cannot give up. And it's all in the mind. It's all attitudinal.
Well, that's actually a really excellent thing to finish on, is that it is all in the mind, and you can make something of your life through giving, as you've done, which is very much in harmony with service above self that Rotary expresses. And of course this year is Peace Through Service. Just one last thing, what do you think creates peace for you?
Peace for me.
Yeah, what gives you peace?
What gives me peace? It gives me, once in a blue moon, you'll get a resident that you've helped out. Thank you. Most of the times in local government, you're subject to criticism, more criticism. And when you get that thanks, when you get that method of appreciation, it really warms your heart.
Yes.
And that's satisfaction. That's peace. That's being appreciated for what you do. But you've got to fight for it.
So, in our community, maybe we should be appreciating others a lot more than what we do.
Should.
Yeah.
You've indicated that a final point there. I'll make a final point as well. There's only really one reason that us as human beings are put on this planet, and that is to assist, to help develop, to be caring, to be kind, to help the disadvantaged, to help our fellow human beings, and that's it. That's the only reason we're here. And if we do that, we will be rewarded. It just happens.
Quite naturally. Well, with that, thank you so much, John, for your time. It's been a real pleasure, a genuine pleasure to meet you, and I love what you're doing, bringing peace to the world in your own way. So thanks a lot for that.